Hello and welcome to tonight's live. I'm talking today about joy, and specifically joy in relation to depression and whether or not it's actually the solution to depression. So when I'm seeing clients, I often ask them, what would you like to feel instead of, what you're feeling at the moment, which is usually something like anxious, depressed, alone, hopeless, that kind of thing. People come to see a therapist when they have a pain point, something they're experiencing that they would like to solve. So usually people have got an answer to that question, something along those lines. And I find that the answer, if somebody says, I'm feeling anxious, and I say, what would you like to experience instead? They normally say calm or peace. And if they're feeling depressed, they'd like to feel happy. And so I was doing some work around a solution finding. What are the solutions and how can we access those solutions? Because everybody's capable of happiness. Everybody's capable of calm. Everybody's capable of feeling peaceful, feeling joy. We all have an ability to experience a full range of emotions. And I was reading something about joy and how that's the cure for anxiety. It's not actually calm or peace, it's actually joy. Because when you're joyful and when you experience joy, it causes you to feel peaceful and to feel calm. And when you're experiencing distress or anger or fear or sadness and so forth, it causes you to then, begin to have a negative experience of life. And so for me, being an accountant, and understanding, profit and loss and balance sheets and how, you have debits and credits and you balance them out. And if you've got more of this or less of that, then it works out to be a negative or a positive. And I was thinking about the way we live our lives and how we're experiencing life. And as experiential beings living our life, having an experience, we experience life through emotion. So we might, on one side, we might experience things like sadness and grief and fear and worry and anger and frustration, feeling guilty or rejected or powerless. And all those things are a part of life's experiences, part of the spectrum or the rainbow or the full range of emotions. And then on the other side, we've got, the feeling of love, of peace, of joy, of happiness, excitement, gratitude, all those beautiful feelings. And when you think of a person living their life, whether they're having a negative experience or a positive experience, if you're having more negative feelings than positive feelings, then life just feels bad. And if you're having more positive feelings than negative feelings, then life feels good. So life is all about feelings. And when you think about life as a whole, your life might feel either good or bad as a whole, but it also has the sections of your life. Like you might have a net experience of positivity around work. Overall, work might be great, but home life might not feel so great. Or you might be in a relationship that doesn't feel so great, or another friendship that feels amazing. So you're going to have good areas in your life and some that are not so positives. And a friend of mine, actually recently I was speaking to, she was telling me how she'd chosen to end a relationship. And in her words, she said, when I weighed it all up, the negatives outweighed the positives. So she chose not to be with that person not because there was nothing good in the relationship, but because the negatives outweighed the positives. But it's more than just running a tally. It's about how we focus on things. And I remember in the movie The Secret, there was a section about relationships. It's got it opened up with the negatives and the shouting and people having, this distress and the crying and the hands over the face. And then it showed a woman, and she was alone at home with a glass of wine or whatever, and she's sitting there and her husband's not there, and she started to handwrite. It shows her handwriting, I am so grateful for, and she starts writing all the good things in her relationship. And it then shows that when you focus on the good, you can build that and bring more good into your relationship. So what I'm pointing out is that it's not just about, is there more good than bad, or is there more bad than good, but it's also about where we're putting our focus. Is our focus just so taken up with the negative, with the bad stuff, that we're missing out on noticing the positives? Because 90% of your life is lived in your mind. It's experienced in your mind. Those debits and credits, those negatives and positives, are largely subjective and depending on what you're focusing on. So there's a part of our brain, or a function of our brain, called the reticular activating system. And that reticular activation system, it is scanning and noticing certain things. So you might see like a whole lot of stuff. It's like that, that grid you see on Facebook, and it says the first 3 words you see are, what your strengths are or something. And you look through and you're wondering what words you're going to see. That's like the reticular activation system. There might be like 50 words in that grid, but you're only going to find one, and that's going to be the focus that you have. So the reticular activation system has a very important function because it's scanning for negatives. We're programmed actually to seek the negative or see the negative. And that's because if we don't see the negative, we're also in danger, but also so that we're always looking for more, for better. Like, I'm not satisfied, I want more. This isn't good enough, I want better. And we continue to be a seeking human being, seeking something for ourselves so that we grow and learn. But there's a really simple way to improve your life and your experience of life, and that is to just notice more good. And that means deliberately shifting our focus, deliberately refocusing on good things. And now there's a method. Everyone needs a method. We need clear instructions in order to take action. So I'm going to give you a very clear instruction here on how to do this. And it involves joy journaling. Now, you may have tried journaling in the past, or you may not have, but this is specifically about getting a book dedicated to joy and assigning 5 minutes a day to just sitting down and noticing and writing down and recognizing and refocusing our attention on the good things. So you might not notice anything good at all while you are in that dark place, in that depression, absorbed and engulfed and engrossed with this negativity. And it's a physical feeling. It's a physical thing. Your body actually reacts to depression. It contracts, your emotions contract, everything about you contracts, and your brain actually contracts too, in the sense that you go into like a tunnel vision. So it's about saying, I am deliberately going to expand my focus. I'm deliberately going to focus here and bring about a bigger experience of what's around me. So once you've got that book and you've got that dedicated time, morning or afternoon, you can start right now. Just do it every day. And studies have shown that when a group of people follow this practice for 21 days, their mood, their depressions, their self-rating of life significantly improved. So it's worth doing this because it does work. For me, water is a huge part of bringing me joy. So if I have a bath, if I have a shower, if I am near a creek, a waterfall, a beach, beautiful beaches with sand and the waves, even just looking at a fish tank and watching the fish, as long as I don't have to clean the fish tank, of course, because that's not fun. Things like a breeze blowing, clouds in the sky, a flower blooming. It's all those little things. And doing something like gardening, or, in winter, a warm fire, a big tree, just appreciating that tree's been standing here for longer than I've been alive, and that it has been through so many storms and it's still standing. Going for a walk, noticing the birds, the flowers, the insects. Nature can really speak to your heart if you allow it to speak and to connect with it, if you're listening. And animals. I posted a video in the Anxiety Free Life group the other day on Facebook about 2 little wombats from the Wombat Rescue that were just frolicking around playing. And it just, look, you cannot look at this stuff and not feel something if you are willing to pay attention. So joy is something that cannot be purchased. It's free. You need to activate it by choice, by shifting your focus. It's connected to our body, our physiology, the way we move. It's a focus, it's a gratitude, and you deserve it. It does alleviate depression. You cannot feel joyful and depressed at the same time. There is one last thing I want to say, or one last thing that I find is helpful with joy, and that is music. Music affects our mood, our soul, our body. It connects with the tune and the tempo and the beat. So seek out some beautiful melodies or songs that have a meaning to you, that trigger a good memory. You might have that one song that really uplifts you, gives you energy, and try and get what songs that have words that are also positive and uplifting. I know sometimes the words are a little bit questionable. So I hope that's been helpful to you. I hope to hear from you that you have taken up the practice of journaling your own happiness. And I'm sending joy to you right now from me to you. If you experience depression or anxiety, please subscribe to my channel. That is what I specialize in and what I focus on. Most of my talks are about depression, anxiety, and how to improve mental health and the experience of living. You can also join Anxiety Free Life, which is the group that is linked to the Facebook page for my local hypnosis. Have a beautiful day.